The galaxy had long forgotten about Earth. For centuries, humans had vanished from the records of the great star empires. Their colonies were abandoned, their cities cold and lifeless. The Galactic Council believed humanity had destroyed itself long ago. No one ever questioned it. Humans were considered extinct. Another failed species that couldn't handle the weight of the stars. But one quiet day, something changed. Far out on the rim of known space in a lonely sector called Vargan's Reach, a small alien scout ship named Velinar's Hope picked up a signal. It was faint, almost like a whisper lost in static. But it was old. So old that even the ship's computers struggled to identify the language. Captain Rethkar, a member of the insectoid Velinar species, stared at the signal pattern on his monitor. "This can't be real," he said softly, his antennae twitching. His first officer, Kellar, leaned closer. "It looks ancient. Pre-galactic era." The crew watched as the computer translated the fragments. A series of words flashed on the screen. "This is Terran Naval Command. All units report. Earth remains. Hold the line." The crew exchanged looks of confusion. "Terran?" Kellar asked. "Who are the Terrans?" Rethikar's voice dropped to a whisper. "Humans. It's a human signal." The bridge fell silent. For generations, humans had been a rumor. Stories told by soldiers about the mad warriors of Sol, who had once fought wars so destructive that entire moons were turned to dust. The Council had removed all records of them, declaring humanity a danger to peace. The few species that had met humans in the ancient days described them as small but unstoppable. And now, there was a signal. Rethkar ordered the ship to trace the origin. The source came from an uncharted region of space, a cluster of dark cold systems near a dying red star. Against his crew's advice, he decided to go. After 3 days of travel through silent voids and frozen debris fields, the Velinar's Hope arrived at a dead world. It was gray, lifeless, scarred by ancient craters. Orbiting above it was a single derelict station. "It's human design," the ship's AI reported. "No life signs detected." Rethkar gave the order to approach. The ship's light swept across the metal surface, revealing faded markings. UNS Vanguard Station, Terran Fleet Command. Even the oldest historians in the galactic archives had never seen a structure this ancient still intact. The crew docked carefully and a team of explorers entered. Inside, everything was frozen in time. Control panels coated with dust, floating tools in zero gravity, faded flags with the blue and white emblem of Earth. Kellar brushed a layer of frost off a console. "It feels like a graveyard," he said quietly. They powered up the main terminal. To everyone's shock, it still worked. A flicker of light appeared on the main screen. An old holographic recording. A human officer appeared. His uniform was torn, but his eyes burned with defiance. "This is Admiral Marcus Hale of the Terran Fleet," the recording began. "If you're hearing this, humanity has fallen. The enemy was too many, too strong. But we will not be forgotten. Somewhere a ship remains, the last of our kind. The Titan-class battleship Resolute. If it still stands, humanity stands." The recording ended. For a long moment, no one spoke. The air felt heavy, as if the ghosts of the past were watching them. Kellar broke the silence. "A battleship? After all these centuries?" Rethkar nodded slowly. "If it exists, it would be a relic. But imagine what we could learn from it. Technology, history, everything lost to time. And perhaps, he thought secretly, something more." The name Resolute stirred something deep in him, a strange feeling of respect. Back aboard the ship, Rethkar sent the data to the Galactic Council. Within days, the Council's response arrived. "Captain Rethkar, you are to remain in orbit. Do not approach further. A fleet will be dispatched to secure the site. Humans are a classified subject. Your mission is complete." The message carried the usual cold authority, but Rethkar felt uneasy. "Why hide it?" he asked Kellar. "If humans are gone, why fear their memory?" That night, as the ship orbited the dead world, strange readings appeared on their sensors. A faint power surge. "Deep beneath the planet's surface." "Captain, you should see this," Kellar said. "There's something moving underground." Moments later, the signal came again, stronger this time. The same human code repeating endlessly. "Terran Command, Battleship Resolute, requesting identification." "Is anyone out there?" Rethikar's heart raced. "It's not a recording this time. It's active." The crew stared at their captain, unsure what to do. The council had forbidden further contact. But the call was still there, a voice from the past asking for an answer. "Respond," Rethkar ordered. Keelar hesitated. "Captain, that would violate council order." "I know," Rethkar said, his voice firm. "But if there's still a human ship down there, the galaxy deserves to know." He leaned closer to the console. "This is Captain Rethkar of the Velinar's Hope. Identify yourself." For several seconds there was silence. Then the reply came. "This is Terran Battleship Resolute. Identification confirmed. You are not of Earth origin. State your intentions." The crew froze. The voice was human, clear, calm, and alive. "Impossible," Keelar whispered. "No human could have survived this long." Rethakar's voice trembled slightly. We found your station. We believed humans were extinct." A pause. Then the human replied, "Extinct? No, we endured. We hid while the galaxy forgot." "Tell me, Captain, is the war over?" Rethkar exchanged looks with his crew. "There is no war anymore. The galaxy is at peace." Another pause. The human's voice softened. "Then perhaps it's time we came home." At that moment, the planet's surface began to shake. Tremors rippled through the crust, and massive clouds of dust rose from ancient craters. Sensors flared with energy readings off the charts. The ground split open, revealing a vast hangar buried beneath the rock. And then, they saw it. A colossal shape rose from the dust, metal, scarred, and silent for centuries. Lights flickered to life along its hull. Massive cannons unfolded from armored ports. The name was written across its side in faded white letters. UNS Resolute. The Velinar's Hope crew could only stare in awe. "The battleship was real," Keelar whispered. "By the stars. It's enormous. How is it still working?" Rethakar's eyes widened as the ship's thrusters ignited, burning blue against the red planet's sky. This is history waking up." Then came the message from the battleship, its voice steady and proud. "Unknown vessel, stand clear. The Resolute is rising. The old human battleship, sleeping beneath the ground for hundreds of years, lifted into the stars once more." The aliens watched in stunned silence as the giant ship emerged from the planet's shadow, its ancient Terran flag glowing faintly on its hull. And across the galaxy, long dormant listening stations, forgotten relics of the human empire, suddenly came to life. Every signal, every beacon, every forgotten human satellite began transmitting the same message in a dozen alien languages. Humanity endures. The galaxy had not seen a human ship in almost 1,000 years, but now the UNS Resolute floated above the red planet, alive once again. Its hull was scarred and dark, yet it looked powerful, like a sleeping beast that had suddenly opened its eyes. The alien crew of the Velinar's Hope could hardly believe what they were seeing. "Captain, it's massive," said Keelar softly, his mandibles twitching. "That ship could destroy a whole fleet." Captain Rethkar watched silently. The human battleship was unlike anything he had ever seen. Even though it was ancient, its design was elegant and fierce. Thick armor plates, giant thrusters, and heavy cannons lined the sides like teeth of a predator. He whispered, "This is not just a warship. It's a monument." On the alien ship's bridge, the human voice came again through the comms. "This is Admiral Marcus Hale, commanding the Resolute. Identify yourselves." Keelar looked at the captain. He called himself Admiral Hale. That's the same name from the recording we found on the station. Rethkar nodded. Then somehow, "He's still here." He activated the communicator. "Admiral Hale, this is Captain Rethkar of the exploration vessel Velinar's Hope. We come in peace. We discovered your signal by accident." There was a pause, then Hale replied, "Peace. That's a word I haven't heard in centuries." His tone carried both exhaustion and pride. Rethkar took a deep breath. "Admiral, humanity has been gone for many generations. The Galactic Council believed your species went extinct." The voice of the Admiral came back, steady and calm. "Extinct? No, Captain. Humanity does not vanish so easily. We endure, we adapt, we rise when all others fall." His words sent chills through everyone on the alien ship. Rethkar leaned closer. "Admiral, if you truly are human, how have you survived all these years?" "The Resolute was built to protect Earth," Hale said. "When the last war ended, the enemy burned our skies. We were forced to hide in the void. For centuries we waited, asleep in cryostasis, hoping the signal from Earth would return. It never did." Keelar blinked in disbelief. "They Slept for centuries? Yes, Hale continued. But now someone has answered our call. Tell me, Captain, what kind of galaxy have we awakened to? Rethkar hesitated. It is a galaxy at peace, Admiral. The Council unites hundreds of species under a single rule. War is forbidden. Weapons like yours are relics of the past. The human laughed softly, but there was no joy in it. Peace enforced by fear is not peace, Captain. And relics can still roar. As they spoke, the sensors on Velinar's Hope detected something. A new fleet was arriving. 12 ships bearing the golden insignia of the Galactic Council. Killar's eyes widened. The Council fleet is here. They must have traced our transmission. Rethkar clenched his fists. They move fast. They intend to take control of the system. Moments later, the Council commander hailed them. Captain Rethkar, by order of the Galactic Council, you are relieved of command of this operation. The human vessel will be seized for study. Stand down immediately. Rethkar looked at the growing formation of ships on his screen. Sleek silver warships armed with energy lances. He whispered to himself, "They're afraid." Killar nodded. They always feared humans. Even their name was banned from the archives. The human admiral's voice cut through the comm again. "Captain Rethkar, I see ships approaching." "Are they hostile?" Rethkar hesitated. "They are the Galactic Council Defense Fleet. They mean to secure your ship, Admiral. Please, do not engage them. There's no need for battle." Silence followed. Then Hale spoke, his voice colder. "I see. Even after all this time, they fear us." The lights along the Resolute's hull began to brighten. Massive cannons rotated slowly, targeting the incoming fleet. Kalar shouted, "Captain, they're powering up weapons." Rethikar's heart raced. "Admiral Hale, wait! If you open fire, the Council will declare you a threat to the galaxy." Captain Hale replied, "I do not seek war. But if they aim weapons at my ship, I will defend my crew." Through the viewport, bright lances of light flashed, warning shots from the Council fleet. The Resolute didn't move. Then one Council ship, a little too eager, fired a direct hit at the human battleship's hull. The explosion barely scratched it. The ancient armor absorbed the impact as if it were nothing. "Warning ignored," Hale said calmly. "Engaging defensive protocol." What happened next would be remembered in galactic history forever. The Resolute's engines flared blue, and in a heartbeat, its cannons came to life. A single shot, just one, crossed the void and struck the lead Council cruiser. The cruiser vanished in a blinding flash, torn apart as if made of paper. Every alien on Velinar's Hope stared in disbelief. "By the stars," whispered Kalar. "That was one shot." Another beam followed, disabling 2 more Council ships in seconds. The rest panicked, scattering in every direction. Their communications filled the channels with panic. "Unknown weapon type. Shields failing. We are under attack by human warship." Rethkar slammed his hand on the console. "Admiral, cease fire, please." The Resolute's weapons powered down. Hale's voice returned softer now. "I have no wish to destroy them." But they fired first. That, Captain, is something no human forgets. The remaining Council fleet retreated, engines burning hot. Within minutes, the battlefield fell silent again. Only the Resolute and Velinar's Hope remained. Kalar looked pale. "The Council will never forgive this. They'll return with a full armada." Rethkar nodded grimly. "And the galaxy will learn that humans are not just legends." He looked at the human ship's glowing lights. "Admiral Hale, what will you do now?" "First," Hale said, "we need to know what remains of Earth. I must know if my people still live." Rethkar hesitated. "Earth is lost, Admiral. It was never found again." The Council erased all star maps that led to Sol. There was a long silence. When Hale spoke again, his voice was filled with quiet sadness. "Then we will find it ourselves." Over the next few hours, strange signals began to spread across the network. Old human satellites, forgotten relics drifting near dying stars, woke up and began transmitting coded data. Star charts, encrypted messages, fragments of coordinates, all leading toward a single point in the galaxy, the location of Earth. Kalar stared at the readings. "They're calling to each other. All the old Terran beacons are coming online." The alien crew realized they were witnessing something greater than any of them had imagined. Humanity's legacy was awakening piece by piece. "Captain," Hale said over the comms, "the Resolute will follow the signal trail. You may come if you wish, but be warned, those who buried the truth will not stand idle." Rethkar didn't need to think. We'll go with you, Admiral. The galaxy deserves to know the truth about humans. Then prepare your ship, Captain. The road to Earth begins now. The Resolute moved ahead slowly, its enormous engines lighting the void. The alien ship followed closely behind. Together, they left the red planet behind, heading toward the unknown. For the first time in centuries, a human battleship was moving through the stars once again, and across hundreds of systems, ancient sensors recorded its reappearance. Whispers spread like fire among alien worlds, rumors of the impossible. Humans are back. The ghosts of Sol have returned. The Terran battleship has risen. In the Council's high chamber, panic broke out. The governors of 100 species argued endlessly. "The human ship destroyed our fleet," one shouted. "They should have stayed extinct," cried another. But an older, wiser voice among them said quietly, "You don't understand. Humans never stay gone. They always come back." The Council ordered every fleet to prepare. They wanted the Resolute destroyed before it could reach Earth's old star. But somewhere deep inside their minds, a small fear grew, the same fear their ancestors had once felt. The fear of humanity. The fear of what would happen if they truly returned. And in the cold darkness of space, the Resolute sailed on, alone but proud. Inside its bridge, Admiral Hale stood at the window, staring at the stars. He whispered to himself, "Home." After all these years, the lights of Earth's forgotten path flickered ahead, waiting. Humanity's legend was alive again. The galaxy had not been this restless in 1,000 years. Every species, from the proud Valar colonies to the silent Sorn traders, whispered about one thing: the return of the humans. Some called it a myth. Others said it was a warning. But those who had seen the images knew the truth. The great Terran battleship Resolute was real, and it was moving. The Resolute sailed through deep space, its engines humming softly, a sound that once made enemies tremble. Beside it, the smaller alien vessel, Velinar's Hope, followed like a loyal shadow. Captain Rethkar stood at the bridge window, watching the giant human ship glide ahead. Its dark hull reflected the starlight like polished stone. Every few moments, soft blue light pulsed along its sides as if the ship itself was breathing. "It's beautiful," Kalar whispered. "For a weapon of war, it feels alive." Rethkar nodded. "Perhaps it is. A machine built by people who refuse to give up." Inside the Resolute, Admiral Marcus Hale stood at the command deck, gazing at the stars through the glass panels. He was tall, his uniform old and faded, his eyes sharp with quiet strength. Around him, the human crew slowly awakened from their cryo-sleep chambers. Men and women who had slept for centuries, now breathing again for the first time. "Admiral," said Commander Lee, his second-in-command, status report complete. 70% of systems operational. Crew revival at 35%. Hull integrity, 88%. Hale gave a small nod. "Good. We will restore full function before reaching the next waypoint." Lee hesitated. "Sir, there is something else." The alien ship. Its captain claims to be an explorer, not a soldier. But the Council will not stop at one fleet. They'll send an armada. Hale's gaze hardened. "Let them come. We've faced worse." Meanwhile, aboard Velinar's Hope, the alien crew watched the humans with fascination. Through shared data links, they could see parts of the Resolute's operation. Massive engines being repaired, robotic arms fixing outer plating, human engineers moving with calm purpose. "They're so few," Kalar said. "Maybe 100 awakened so far. And yet they're rebuilding a ship that could crush planets," Rethkar replied quietly. "That's what makes them human. They fight even when the odds are lost." Days passed as the two ships traveled together. They followed the trail of old Terran beacons, tiny satellites that blinked faint blue lights, guiding them across forgotten star routes. Each beacon carried a message, a memory of humanity's old empire. One beacon said, "If you find this, you are part of the Terran legacy. Remember who we were." Another said, "We built the stars, we fell from them, but we will rise again." Every message filled the crews with quiet wonder. Even the aliens began to feel something new, a strange respect for the humans who had once ruled the stars with courage and hope. But far behind them, the Galactic Council gathered its strength. A meeting was held in the great crystal hall on Vargan Prime. Hundreds of alien leaders appeared as shimmering holograms around the circular chamber. At the center, High Chancellor Tovan, An ancient being of light and energy spoke in a calm but cold tone. The human battleship must not be allowed to reach Sol, Tovan said. Their kind brings chaos. If they rise again, every species will remember fear. Another voice replied, but they have not attacked since the first encounter. Maybe they only seek their home. Tovan's form flickered with irritation. Their home is dust. Their wars scarred 100 worlds. We will not let their ghosts awaken, and so, the Council's command was given. Assemble the celestial fleet. Intercept the human ship at all costs. Back in deep space, the humans had no idea of the massive force preparing to hunt them. The Resolute and Velinar's Hope had just entered a nebula field. The stars outside turned hazy, glowing softly through drifting clouds of gas. It was beautiful, calm, silent, and endless. Navigation update, said Commander Lee. Beacon signal points to a nearby system. Old Terran name, Epsilon Gate. Estimated arrival, 6 hours. Understood, Hale replied. Maintain course. Then he turned to Rethkar's image on the comm screen. Captain, you said the Council fears humanity. Why? Rethkar took a breath. Long ago they say humans fought wars that burned worlds. The Council was born from that fear. They swore no species would ever hold such power again. That's why they erased your history. Hale nodded slowly. I see. So peace was built on silence. Yes, Rethkar said. They taught us that humans were monsters. But now that I've met you, I think they were wrong. The Admiral smiled faintly. We had our monsters, Captain. But we also had heroes. Maybe you'll meet them someday, in the stories we left behind. As the ships crossed the nebula, strange echoes filled their sensors. Faint signals, mechanical and rhythmic like heartbeat patterns. Kalar frowned at the readings. Captain, there's something out there. Thousands of small energy signatures. Could it be the next beacon? Rethkar asked. Before Kalar could answer, a soft vibration ran through the ship. Then another. Impact! Someone shouted. Something's hitting the hull. They looked out the window. Swarms of tiny drones, silver spider-like machines, emerged from the mist, attaching themselves to both ships. Defense drones. Hale's voice came over the comm. Old Terran design. Automated guardians from the war. Blasts of light flared as the Resolute's smaller cannons fired, targeting the drones one by one. Rethkar shouted, "We'll cover your flank," and ordered his own ship's guns to assist. Together, the two ships fought through the storm of machines. Each drone exploded into sparks, lighting the nebula with flashes of fire. After several long minutes, the last drone was destroyed. Damage report, Hale said calmly. Minor hull scratches, Lee replied. Nothing serious. Rethikar's voice came through, breathing heavily. Your defense systems are strong, Admiral. But those machines were not random. Someone activated them. Hale's face darkened. Then the Council already knows where we're going. When they finally emerged from the nebula, a star system appeared before them. A cold blue sun surrounded by broken planets and debris fields. In the center, a faint blue light blinked from an old structure. A Terran relay station. Signal locked, Lee said. It's broadcasting coordinates. The next beacon, it leads directly to Sol. Rethkar's voice came through the channel. Then Earth is real. It's out there. Hale nodded. Yes, and we're going home. But before they could celebrate, alarms blared, multiple warp signatures. Kalar shouted from Velinar's Hope. They're coming through hyperspace, big ones. On the screen, dozens of ships appeared, sleek, golden, and deadly. The celestial fleet of the Galactic Council. At the center of their formation was a massive flagship, the Radiant Spear. A voice boomed across every channel. This is High Admiral Kor of the Galactic Council. Terran vessel Resolute, you're in violation of galactic law. Power down and surrender immediately. Rethkar turned pale. That's the entire celestial fleet, hundreds of ships. On the human ship, Admiral Hale stood silently for a moment, then said softly, Commander, open a channel. When he spoke, his voice was calm but strong. This is Admiral Marcus Hale of the Terran battleship Resolute. We do not seek war. We seek only to return home. Stand down and we will pass in peace. But Kor's reply was cold. There is no home for your kind. Humanity is a threat to all life. You will not leave this system. Hale closed his eyes briefly. Then you leave us no choice. The Resolute's systems came alive. Energy surged through its reactors. Blue light flooded along its hull as its ancient shields flared. The alien fleet began to move into attack formation. Rethikar's voice came through the comms. "Admiral, you can't fight them all. That's suicide." But Hale only said, "Captain, you once told me the galaxy deserves to know the truth." "Then let them see it." The Resolute's cannons locked onto the lead council ships. The stars themselves seemed to dim around its energy core. "For humanity," Hale said quietly, and the first shot fired. A single beam of light tore through the void, brighter than the sun. It struck the radiant spear head-on, splitting the massive flagship in half. The explosion rippled through the fleet, throwing enemy ships into chaos. Kellar whispered in awe. "That one ship. It's fighting the whole fleet." Rethikar stared silently. "Now I understand why they feared humans." The Resolute moved with impossible grace, dodging and striking back with deadly precision. Every blast from its cannons shook the stars. The alien armada scattered, unable to match the firepower of one ancient battleship. Through the storm of light and fire, Admiral Hale's calm voice echoed over the comms. "We were human. We fell, but we are not gone. Tell your council this: the children of Earth have returned." As the battle raged, the Resolute fired its engines and disappeared into hyperspace, leaving the burning remains of the fleet behind. The council ships were stunned, and Captain Rethkar aboard his damaged vessel whispered softly, "They will never stop him now. He's heading home." The legend of humanity had truly returned. The Resolute moved through the void, leaving behind the burning remains of the council's fleet. The stars stretched into streaks of light as it jumped through hyperspace. Inside the bridge, Admiral Marcus Hale stood silently, staring at the stars. His eyes were tired yet sharp, filled with the weight of centuries and the hope of a future long forgotten. "Commander Lee," he said quietly, "calculate the next jump. Epsilon Gate led us this far. The next beacon, it must bring us closer to Sol." Lee nodded and worked quickly. "Coordinates locked, sir. Estimated arrival in 72 hours. "Good," Hale replied. "Prepare the crew. Everyone must be fully operational for the moment we return to our home star." Meanwhile, aboard Velinar's Hope, Captain Rethkar and Kellar watched the human ship with quiet awe. "Do you think it's really possible?" Kellar asked. "Could there really be humans still waiting for us at Sol?" Rethkar shook his head slowly. "If this ship is any proof anything is possible, humans do not vanish. They endure." For the first time, the alien crew understood what the legends had meant. Humanity was not just a species. It was a force, a spark that refused to be extinguished. During the journey, the crew of the Resolute slowly awakened more of the human crew from cryostasis. Each person who opened their eyes looked around in disbelief at the stars they had once known, now distant and changed. Some wept quietly, others stood tall, ready for duty, as if the centuries of sleep had not dulled their courage. Hale moved among them, offering quiet reassurance. "Your world waits," he said, "and we will find it." On the ship's sensors, Lee noticed a strange anomaly. "Sir," he said, pointing at the display, "we are approaching a gravity distortion field. It's unlike anything recorded in the Terran archives." Hale frowned. Could it be a remnant of the war? Lee shook his head. "It's active. Something is alive in there." Hale considered for a moment. "We cannot avoid it. Prepare defensive systems. Keep the course steady." The Resolute entered the field. Stars outside bent and shimmered unnaturally. The ship's hull shuddered as the distortion tried to pull it apart. Rethkar gripped the console on his own ship. "Captain, this field, it's tearing space itself. Hold the course," Hale commanded. His hands moved over the console with calm precision, activating energy stabilizers and realigning the ship's shields. The Resolute's massive engines glowed blue, pushing against the distortions with incredible force. The humans and aliens watched in tense silence as the ship slowly advanced. After long minutes, the field began to waver, then collapsed entirely. The crew exhaled collectively. Lee spoke softly. "We've passed it." Whatever that was, it wasn't natural. Hale's eyes narrowed. "The universe left trials for us, Commander, and we have passed." Finally, the Terran beacons led them to a star system they had not seen for centuries. A yellow sun burned in the center, surrounded by planets both familiar and unknown. One planet, slightly smaller than Earth, glimmered with green and blue. a mirror of what they had once called home. Hale stared at the planet. Sul, or what remains of it. The humans slowly gathered at the bridge windows, gazing at the familiar sight. Tears formed in some eyes, hope and sorrow mixed together. The planet had survived, though scars of time and decay were evident. Cities that were once alive now lay in ruins. Oceans had shrunk and forests were sparse, but it was still home. Kellar whispered, "It's beautiful. Even after all this time, it survived." Rethkar nodded, and humans survived with it. The Resolute descended toward the planet carefully. Long-abandoned orbital stations, satellites, and debris from ancient battles drifted in orbit. The humans aboard the ship stared silently, memories of long-forgotten tales flashing through their minds. As they approached, Hale activated the ship's communication systems. "This is Admiral Marcus Hale of the Terran battleship Resolute. We return to our home planet. All survivors of humanity respond." The silence that followed was heavy. Then faint signals appeared. Old automated systems, satellites, and relics of human civilization. One by one they powered up, broadcasting small coded messages that had been dormant for centuries. "Terrans, we await your return. Welcome home, children of Earth. The legacy survives." The crew felt a surge of hope. Humanity had left a trail for itself, ensuring that no matter what happened, the next generation could find its way back. On the planet below, the surface was rough and broken. Cities were skeletal shadows, remnants of skyscrapers and industrial complexes. Fires had long burned out, leaving only smoke-stained ruins. Hale's voice over the ship's speakers carried quietly, commanding attention. "Prepare landing craft. We will touch down. Our mission is not just to survive, but to rebuild. Humanity's home calls to us." As landing shuttles deployed, Rethkar watched in amazement. "They're so small. Yet look at the courage it takes to return," Kalar added quietly. "I understand now why the Council feared them. It's not just strength. It's hope that moves mountains." On the ground, the humans landed amid ruins that were eerily silent. Dust rose around them as shuttles touched down on cracked roads and shattered plazas. Hale led the first team, moving carefully. "Stay alert," he warned. "We do not know what we will find, but we must honor the memory of those who built this world." The humans explored old cities, their footsteps echoing in empty streets. Every building carried memories: classrooms, hospitals, command centers. Even the smallest relics were reminders of the people who had walked there centuries ago. They found a library, surprisingly intact, with old data cores and digital records. Hale and his team began the painstaking work of restoring them. Every recovered record was a piece of history, a fragment of civilization that had been lost to the galaxy. Meanwhile, from orbit, the Council's remaining fleets observed silently. They were cautious now, unsure if attacking humanity again would be wise. One report came through. "The human ship displays incredible power. Planetary landing achieved. No losses observed in our probes." The Council faltered. The legend of humans had returned in full force. They realized that humanity was not just surviving, it was thriving, even in ruins. Rethkar spoke quietly on the comms to Hale. "Admiral, the Council may hesitate now. You have made them respect humans even from the shadows." Hale looked out at the ruined horizon, the wind stirring dust around shattered buildings. "Respect is earned," he said softly, "and humanity will earn it again." At night, Hale and the crew stood on a hill overlooking the remains of a city. The sun had set and the stars sparkled above, untouched and eternal. "Home," whispered one young crew member. "It feels right." Hale placed a hand on their shoulder. "It is home, and it will be again. We will rebuild, we will rise, and the galaxy will remember that humanity endures." Rethkar, standing beside them, thought quietly. "I have seen many civilizations, many powers. But this is different. Humans are not just strong. They are unstoppable in spirit," Keller added, "and perhaps the galaxy needs that spirit more than we ever understood." Far in the darkness, sensors on the Resolute detected strange signals, energy pulses coming from beneath the planet's surface. Hale frowned. "These readings? They're old Terran technology. Something survived underground. Automated systems from before the fall. We must investigate." The crew prepared excavation teams, Ancient tunnels, hidden bunkers, and cryochambers awaited discovery. If the planet above was a memory, the secrets below could hold the true legacy of humanity. Hale stood at the edge of a chasm, looking down into the darkness. We return not just to reclaim a home, but to uncover our history. What humanity built, what humanity endured, will be ours to restore. Rethakar and Kellar watched silent. They understood now that the return of humans was not just a story of war or battleships. It was a story of resilience, hope, and courage that would change the galaxy forever. The Resolute and its crew had returned. Humanity's home was waiting, and the legend of Earth, long forgotten by the stars, was ready to shine again. The Resolute had landed fully on the surface of the long-forgotten world. Its massive hull reflected the faint sunlight of the yellow star, casting shadows across the ruins of cities that had once been alive with human life. Admiral Marcus Hale stood on the bridge, staring at the horizon. He had seen countless stars, traveled through the darkest corners of space, and survived centuries in cryostasis. Yet nothing filled him with more awe than standing on the soil of his home planet. "Prepare, teams," he said, his voice steady. "We will uncover every secret that remains. Humanity's story will continue here where it began." Landing teams spread across the planet. They moved carefully, aware that centuries had passed. Nature had begun reclaiming cities. Grass pushed through cracked roads, vines curled around skeletal buildings, and small animals scuttled among the ruins. The humans moved in quiet reverence. Every artifact, every broken structure, every dusty library reminded them of what had been lost, and of what could be rebuilt. Commander Lee found an old training center. "Sir, these systems still function. They've preserved simulations of human history, tactics to engineering." Hale's eyes gleamed. "Perfect. This knowledge will guide us. Humanity will not only survive, we will thrive." Beneath the surface, excavation teams discovered enormous underground bunkers and cryochambers. Thousands of Terran logs lay dormant in storage units waiting to be restored. Old AI systems powered up slowly, flickering with blue light. One AI interface greeted the team. "Welcome, Terran crew. Historical data secured, memory banks intact, civilization legacy protected." Hale's expression softened. Even in hiding, humans prepared for the future. That is the spirit that survives. Rethkar and Kellar observed the operation from the bridge of Velinar's Hope. "They planned for centuries," Rethkar said quietly. "And now, the galaxy will see why they were feared." Kellar nodded. "Not just feared, respected." As the days passed, humans restored parts of the city. Automated systems cleared rubble, while engineers and soldiers worked to reactivate power grids. Communication arrays were repaired, sending signals into space. Old Terran satellites aligned, broadcasting messages of life and resilience. "Terrans are alive. Humanity returns. We endure." These messages spread quickly across the stars. Species who had once considered humanity extinct now scrambled to track the signals. Traders, explorers, and historians alike paused to observe the rise of a civilization thought lost forever. Even the Galactic Council could not ignore the transmissions. They watched as the Resolute patrolled the skies above the planet, its cannons still gleaming, its shields ready. One morning, as the sun rose over a forested ruin, Hale assembled his crew. "Our first mission is clear," he said. "Rebuild, explore, and prepare. Humanity will claim its place in the stars once more. But we will do so peacefully, offering friendship to those willing to accept it and strength to those who doubt it." The crew listened, silent. They understood that this was not just about reclaiming Earth. It was about showing the galaxy what humans had always been capable of. Rethkar whispered to Kellar, "Even without firing a shot, their presence alone changes the galaxy." Kellar's eyes followed the massive ship in orbit. "They do not need to fight. The story of humanity is a weapon on its own." Weeks turned into months. Humans reactivated cities, restored communication networks, and retrieved technology buried beneath centuries of dust. The Resolute patrolled orbit, a symbol of their power and pride. Alien species began visiting cautiously. Traders and explorers approached, curious but wary. The humans greeted them openly, demonstrating diplomacy alongside their strength. They showed no desire for conquest, only reclamation and survival. From every encounter, stories of human resilience spread. Planets far from Earth whispered tales of battleships that rose from forgotten worlds, of crews who slept through centuries, and of civilizations who refused to vanish. Then came the moment that would mark history. A council fleet appeared in orbit, this time larger than ever. Hundreds of ships armed with energy weapons and shields prepared to challenge humanity once more. Hale, standing on the Resolute's bridge, looked at the formation calmly. "They are coming," he said, "but we do not attack unless provoked. Stand ready." The council commander, High Admiral Kor, hailed them. "Admiral Hale, stand down immediately. The galaxy will not tolerate human resurgence. Surrender your vessel." Hale's voice was calm but strong. "High Admiral Kor, we have returned to our home. We seek peace, but we will defend ourselves if attacked. Humanity endures, and we will not vanish again." There was silence. Then Kor's response came, tense and sharp. "You will be destroyed if you do not comply." Hale nodded. "Understood. Prepare your ships." But the battle never happened. The council fleet observed the humans quietly, analyzing every movement of the Resolute. The humans were calm, organized, and prepared, but they were not attacking. Every ship, every soldier, every system reflected centuries of knowledge, strategy, and determination. Rethikar and Kellar watched from the bridge of Velinar's Hope. "They are showing the council what humans really are," Rethikar whispered. Kellar added, "Not just power. Courage, discipline, and honor." The council slowly realized the truth. Humans were not monsters to be feared. They were survivors, unmatched in resilience and strength. Attempting to destroy them would risk the galaxy itself. Reluctantly, Kor withdrew the fleet, leaving the humans to rebuild in peace. Months later, Earth's cities began to thrive again. Energy grids hummed, buildings were restored, and communication networks connected every corner of the planet. Terran scientists reactivated old technology, creating new inventions based on centuries-old designs. Hale walked among the citizens, the first of the humans to truly reclaim the streets of their planet. Children ran through parks rebuilt from ruins, families reunited after centuries of separation, guided by careful records from before the fall. "It's beautiful," Hale whispered. "Humanity survives not just in story but in life itself." In orbit, the Resolute remained a vigilant guardian. The ship that had awakened the galaxy now stood as a shield over its people. Its presence reminded all who looked up that humans had returned, not as conquerors, but as protectors. Rethikar and Kellar left the planet after months of observation, carrying stories of human resilience across the stars. "We will tell the galaxy," Rethikar said, "that humanity endures, that they are more than legend," Kellar added, "and maybe the galaxy needs them alive more than we realized." Hale, standing at the top of a restored tower overlooking the rebuilt city, spoke quietly to the stars. "To every human who ever dreamed, every soul who endured, every story that was forgotten, we return. And we will ensure the galaxy never forgets humanity again." The people cheered, a sound that echoed across mountains, forests, and oceans. The legacy of Earth was alive. Its children had returned. And for the first time in 1,000 years, the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter in recognition. The Resolute remained ready, a symbol of hope and strength. Humanity had returned not to conquer but to endure, and across the galaxy, every species slowly understood that humans were not just survivors, they were unstoppable. As the sun set on the horizon, Hale stood quietly, hand on the ship's rail. "The galaxy once forgot us," he whispered. "But we are here now, and we will remain." The stars blinked in silent agreement. Humanity had returned, and this time they would never be forgotten.